Coming up tonight, an ST exclusive, Singapore stops enrolling COVID-19 patients for an international antibody trial.
Billionaire James Dyson and his wife sell their Singapore penthouse at a huge loss.
And the National University of Singapore fires a college don accused of sexual misconduct.
This is our brand new show, the Straits Times Newsnight. I'm Chelsea N.
I'm Dylan Ang. Great to have you with us. Now we begin with a Straits Times exclusive. It looks like another setback in the search of the elusive COVID-19 vaccine. The National Centre for Infectious Diseases has temporarily stopped enrolling patients for an antibody trial here. This comes after the US company that developed the drug had to halt the trial due to safety concerns.
The NCID said that so far, one patient in Singapore has joined the study and is well, with no adverse effects related to the drugs involved in the study. Singapore is one of 3 countries involved in the trial after the United States and Denmark. The pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly paused the late-stage trial last week, but did not disclose what the safety concern was or how many people were affected.
But there's good news on the local front, as there were only 4 new cases of COVID-19 today, and they are all imported cases. That means there were no local cases in the community or from the foreign worker dormitories.
Also in COVID-related news, from November 1st, walking, cycling and kayaking tours will be able to accommodate up to 20 people. That's double the current limit. But these tours will still be subject to prevailing social gathering sizes, which means that the 20 people must be split into 4 groups with no intermingling allowed.
A High Court judge has overturned a decision by the lower courts to allow a Chinese couple to leave Singapore for China and return for their trial. Shisha and her husband, Hu Jin, will now have to remain here on bail. Each faces the charge of withholding information from a contact tracer on Hu's whereabouts and activities between the 22nd and 29th of January. On top of this, she also faces 3 counts relating to providing false information to other contact tracers.
Something many employers are waiting for: more payouts under the Job Support Scheme. In the latest round, over $5.5 billion will be given out to more than 140,000 employers to help them pay the wages of 1.9 million local employees starting next Thursday. In a Facebook post this morning, Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Heng Swee Keat urged all employers to do their best to retain their workers. Introduced in March, the JSS was recently extended to cover wages paid up to March next year for firms in sectors harder hit by the COVID-19 crisis, and up to December this year for sectors which are managing well.
In other news, a man was found dead at Marina Reservoir near the promontory this morning. He was wearing only shorts when he was put out of the water near Customs House. Police said they received a call for assistance at 8:44 a.m, but when the Singapore Civil Defence Force arrived, it could not find anyone in the water. The man's identity has not been revealed. The National University of Singapore finds itself in the headlines for the wrong reasons again. NUS fired a Tembusu College don after an internal investigation into accusations of sexual misconduct against 2 female undergraduate students.
Earlier, NUS had received complaints from the students that Dr. Jeremy Fernando had behaved inappropriately as a teaching staff. The victims said that the former don had made various non-consensual advances, including kissing, touching and oral sex. An NUS spokesman said that the university had found that the former don's conduct had fallen short of the standards of professionalism that the university expects of a teaching staff. Almost exactly a year ago, an ex-NUS senior lecturer was jailed 14 weeks for rubbing against an undergrad on a campus bus.
Let's take a look at what's been trending on social media and sparking conversations today. Sue Ann, do you remember the $73.8 million ultra-luxe super penthouse bought by James Dyson last year? Well, it's been sold. The Business Times reports the British billionaire inventor has sold off the unit for a $12 million loss at $62 million. Well, the buyer, Indonesian-born tycoon Leo Koguan, co-founder and chairman of IT provider SHI International. Now, in case you need a reminder, the Wallich Residence penthouse is the largest non-landed residence here and sits atop Singapore's tallest building at Tanjong Pagar Centre.
Also back in the headlines is Singaporean blogger Amos Yee. He's in court again, this time for child pornography. And Singapore netizens are outraged with over 1,000 comments surfacing online since the story broke over the weekend. The 20-year-old allegedly exchanged nude photos and thousands of messages with a 14-year-old Texas girl, despite the girl reminding him repeatedly of her age. After being jailed twice in Singapore, Yee was granted asylum in the US in 2017 and has been living in Chicago since then. His bail was set at $1 million and he has been banned from using the internet while awaiting trial. If convicted, Yee could face deportation.
Now, looking to head to the beach next weekend, you are likely to face much sparser crowds now that a new booking system has kicked in over the weekend. Groups of not more than 5 people were spread out across Tanjong, Palawan and Siloso beaches in squares marked out on the sand. Visitors who turned up without having made an online booking were either turned away or given a later available time slot, with waiting time varying from 5 minutes to almost 2 hours. Now, Sue-Ann, you went to Sentosa on Saturday, right? Like, how was it like?
It was strange. It felt almost like we had the beach and the water to ourselves. Even the beach clubs felt much emptier. In fact, it felt that Sentosa as a whole was just so much quieter.
Wow, so is that a good thing, yes or no?
Actually it was quite nice to not have to deal with the crowd. But I must say, it's really not easy to book. The slots are taken up so quickly and I noticed quite a few groups being turned away or told to wait.
Wow.
Even though the beaches were empty, so I was quite grateful that my friends had the foresight to make a booking.
Clever, that's clever of them. Now, in sports, bad news for Liverpool fans who have been dealt with news that centre-back Virgil Van Dijk needs knee surgery after injuries sustained in Saturday's game against Everton. It is likely that he will miss the majority of the rest of the season. Taking to Instagram, Van Dijk expressed his disappointment as well as a desire to return better, fitter and stronger than ever before and thanked the messages of support from the public. Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson too extended his sympathies on social media, writing, "Recover well, my brother, we'll be waiting for you."
Before we go, Dylan, have you watched on Netflix Emily in Paris?
A bit embarrassed to say this, but yes. Are you going to ask me about, whether I've seen the various memes on social media?
Yes, actually. In case you missed it, thanks to some clever Photoshop, social media has been abuzz with the images of the character played by American actress Lily Collins in typically Singaporean locations.
Now, despite drawing some ridicule for its depiction of the French city and its inhabitants, the show has quickly become a hit, topping the charts here and in several other countries too. Something to put a smile on your face for sure.
Dylan, you were thinking of visiting the Jurassic Mall at Changi Airport, weren't you?
Yes, I was, but I saw that barely a week since it's been open, the exhibits have already been defaced by inconsiderate visitors. It's very sad to see actually. Now, from a video of a woman gleefully rocking back and forth on a baby dinosaur exhibit making the rounds earlier this week to the same hatchling missing 5 teeth. Poor thing.
A Changi Airport Group spokesman said the exhibit has sustained some damage and will be temporarily removed for repair work. Many Singaporeans are up in arms over the vandalism, calling for penalties and fines as a deterrent. And that wraps up the Straits Times Newsnight. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos.
Now, don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.